All right. Good evening, everybody. It's Roden again, and we are now presenting Eve Station Trading, episode 35. Man, it's crazy. I'm getting up there. It's always something new with each episode, too, especially with the refineries. Oh my god, so crazy, so crazy. But as always, we'll carry on with first thing we always look at, which is a review of previous week's calls for buys and sells. I think this week's going to be a little bit more. I think as we progress through the very fundamental update of, the refineries and how the new materials are, it's becoming a little easier to see how everything's shaping up. I think when we were first looking at it in the beginning, it's a bit too soon. And actually, there's some really strange things that I've been seeing, kind of carrying over from last week as well, from when we were looking at the raw moon materials. So we'll see. Now, bear in mind that there has been some extractions that have already happened. So, and the picture that we can show you from Jita is just that. It's just a picture from Jita. It is a regional picture. Okay, so bear that in mind when we're trying to look at these things, because I think the bulk of the money exchanges kind of happens very, very locally in Nosek, I imagine, as opposed to what's happening in Jita. I don't think we're quite in a place where we can freely import and export the same way we used to. All right, so let's look at our previous calls. All right, so last week we called buys on excavator mining drones. It's a pretty reasonable buy, pretty reasonable call. Let's take a look. All right, a buy on excavator mining drones. I mean, he basically went sideways. Uh, Excavator mining drones reminds me of Plex. It's very slow. It's very slow. It's slow because, well, for an item for a mining drone, it's incredibly expensive for one. All right, so there's in general not a whole lot of them out in space anyway. From when we called it last week as a buy, I mean it's still technically a buy, but it's closer to probably flipping now than it was last week. So a couple of our calls basically played out exactly like this as well. So we'll see. I mean, these extended periods of things going sideways as opposed to being a lot more traditionally cyclical, which is fine. Sometimes that's just the nature of the item. All right, the next item we're going to look at is Megasite. Megasite's really interesting, actually, having been Provi for a few weeks now. Megasite's really cheap in Provi. Really cheap. I try to get it as much as I can. It's just based on where I do my operations, just really out, like clearly on the other side of the region. It's a bit inconvenient. It's a bit inconvenient. So we call that a buy. It's still continuing to go down, actually. So, uh, based on the volume, so right here, it's is it oversupply? It's not a very clear sign of oversupply. The volume, it's not incredibly aggressive, but it's becoming more frequently aggressive as time goes by. It hits the 30 million mark daily volume a lot more often than, say, the previous 60 days. And the mean price, the orange dots right here, it's continuing to land below the 5-day moving average, which is a sign that it's probably not done going down. Is it a buy? Yeah, it's a buy. At the time that we called it last week, I think it was a fair call, but now it's developing to be more of a buy. So much so that it's probably not done going down. It's probably not done going down, at least for maybe another 2 more days until you start seeing the median day price starting to at least land level or above the 5-day moving average. It's more than likely to continue to go down. So be watchful of that one. I mean, I think buy was a good call. It's actually a better buy now than it was last week. That's a bit of a shame. Oh, hey Cap. I was like, damn, bro, never watching a 50 cal reload video. Oh man, there's some craziness going on, Cap. Craziness. Oh my god. Can't wait. Alright, so that's the mega site picture. I'm kind of surprised people are dumping this. Why are people dumping this? Is it because of the composition of the new moon belts? Not sure. I'm actually not terribly knowledgeable of the composition of the moon belt, so this may be a product of that. Next one is pyrite. We called it as like a must-buy last week. It's literally in the same spot. That's pretty crazy. It really doesn't know what to do. It really doesn't know what to do. I just don't think it's gonna go down though. Because it's had plenty of chances to go down, but it won't. That's interesting. I mean, again, I'm using my experience in Provi here. After about 2 weeks, those really cheap pyrite orders basically started resurfacing again in Provi. And I'm probably gonna buy up. Once I have the cash, I'm probably gonna, or once I start moving some cash around, I'm probably gonna end up buying up half the regions again. Half the regions worth of pyrite. Which was really fun to do. I built so much Abaddons out of the effectively free pyrite that Provi was offering. It was great. It's so good. It's so good being a builder, active builder / exporter in Provi. Really good. What's the naughty boy Twitter prison, Cap? What is that? Oh, delight. Oh. Oh, Cap says pyrite has bottomed, but shrugs. I just bought. Yeah, I bought some. Well, dude, in Provi right now, pyrite's selling at 2 and change, like 250. I don't think 250 is even the lowest. That's sell orders, mind you. People are just like wanting to get rid of it. So I don't know if that's just a product of mining the regular ore anomalies. It's just way too much pyrite in there, or what? So Cap, you got a 24-hour ban and they let you back slowly. Oh my god, what'd you do, man? Actually, I don't know. What would happen if I got banned from Twitter? Not a whole lot. I don't think a whole lot's gonna happen. As long as I don't get banned from Discord. I think that's more fundamentally negative for me if I get banned. Hey, crazy. 3.3 average where you are? Okay. In nullsec? Like, at least as of yesterday, probably selling lowest sell 2.5. Right around there. He pissed off Anita Sarkeesian and the POTUS. Legit. That's legit. Good on you, man. Oh my god. Anita Sarkeesian, really? Wow. She's still relevant? That's crazy. Alright, so that's the pyrite picture right now. I don't know, actually, will it go down? I don't know. I don't have the whole picture because I don't know what the composition of the moon belts are. Yeah, I take that back. This actually may go down because I simply don't know. But just based on the charting, based on the action that's already happened, probably not. Base says the moon belts suck. Have you interacted with the so? Could we have we had enough time lapse already where we could have seen the largest possible belt, or are we still like are we still only seeing small ones? I live in Delft. Shit. Yeah, Otis just blocked me and she reported me. The only person who thinks Anita was a reporter was Anita. Oh man, so true. Okay, we're still okay. Brewcrow says we're still only seeing smalls. Okay, I thought so. Because I mean, the large ones is that's a really long periodicity. It's several weeks worth, isn't it? Yeah, it's crazy. Hopefully, it's worth it to actually wait that long. I imagine if you wait that long, you become more vulnerable to attack, right? Because it becomes more planned as it exists, as it continues to exist. All right, so the pirate picture actually, I'm gonna downgrade that to one big question mark. I really don't know now because, dude, like I'm still seeing like it. Mean I'm not complaining. Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining as a builder that Provi is willing to sell me tens of millions of units of pyrite for 2.5. Not complaining. I'm just saying, as a trader on Jita now, that kind of worries me. That tells me that, ooh man, this actually there's room for oversupply still. Still, that's crazy. Brucas, I've heard of people stopping week to week pulls and change to a month. If the math is worth it, man, and if you can actually complete the extraction, have a good enough support, or live in Delve, I mean, you'll be fine, right? I'm just saying, man, it'd be cool to live there. You know, I mean, it seems like a pretty well set up place. I was like, I finally broke down my right tower room. What do you want? What do you want to get done, Cap? What do you want to get done? I may know people that know other people that pay other people. All right, so those are all our buys from last week. Let's go over our sells. I don't. I think the sells basically will stay the same. I'm guessing. We called sells basically all ships. First one's the Basilisk. Logi calls are so easy from last week, though. So obvious. Alright, it's moving sideways. It's moving sideways on the top end. That's pretty good. That's a good call. It's a good call for a sell. You would have had, basically would have had nothing but sell opportunities all of last week. It's good. I was like, it's some of that silly mineral market. If probably can build, I can. Like, dude, like right now, I am literally now. I've had the ability to fly jump freighters before. It's just that I extracted it. So I basically had to retrain that, right? So Rodin is, I think, 5 hours away from flying one. As soon as I can fly it, I'm gonna start kind of positioning my RIA to proper places. But basically, like, at least from the open market, I'm pretty confident in saying I'm probably within the top 10 of buyers right now, mineral side, in Provi. I'm pretty confident in actually making that claim. Based on, because I look at least in my time zone, from what I've seen, from my observations in my time zone, it feels like I'm super active in the mineral market. Salvage market, I think a lot of people capture that from their small organization buybacks as opposed to open market cap. So at least from what I've seen, it's same thing for loot, man. It's super small volume. So I'm thinking it's being captured via buybacks, which I really hope I can get into. I just got to have a good plan because from an organizational standpoint, my corp already does one, my alliance already does one, and if they're already successful in that, there just simply might not be room for another guy, to do it. So gotta approach it from another angle. All right, so Basilex, good call. Moving sideways on the top end. Cerberus is next. Wow, really? So we called it right at the crest. Wow, there wasn't much time to actually cash out. Okay. Um, at the time, it was a good call, but it didn't last long. Could you have sold it around that same price where we called it? Maybe. It wouldn't the opportunity wouldn't have lasted long though. So hopefully you were able to cash out. I mean, Serbs have been a pretty staple item for now. I mean, this is kind of odd, such a high volume on the drop. Um, why are they cashing out? They might have they might not have been paying attention when they cashed out on this, because that's almost triple the normal daily volume. That's crazy on the down end. I think that's a bad that might have been a fat finger. That's really bad if that's a fat finger. I know that I didn't do that. That's way too much, dude. That's a lot of fucking serves, man. That's a lot of serves. All right, and finally for our recap, it's gonna be Ishtar. Yeah, I was saying last week, like, why are people still using this? It was just steadily climbing up there. I mean, and it's still continuing to climb. What the fuck? Is it really still that good? I still prefer my Gila. Not gonna lie, I still prefer my Gila. A Gila with rapid lights. I'm really not even afraid of like small tackle approaching me, especially in Provi. Come at me. Come at me. There be at least three of you. If there isn't, just gonna get out of there. Yeah, that's pretty surprising. I mean, like, I guess still a stable PvE ship, so it's good. Cap flies it a lot. Yeah, I mean, I flew it a lot more in wormhole space. That's for sure. Like in a C5, a couple of Ishtars can do. A couple of C5 in a C5, a couple of Ishtars can do work, man. They can do work in a C5, definitely. Where I'm at though, I'm pretty happy with a semi AFK Gila. It's super cheap. It's super cheap. Like, just Tech 2 Fit. Well, I have a DG booster. That's it. But it's DG. It's like, I don't know, like 5-10 mil, something like that. It's pretty crazy. All right. So before we get started, there's a couple of things I actually want to go over with you guys. So I talked about my RIA training. I'm almost done with it. Looking forward to being able to do proper import and export. So import, export, kind of buybacks, that type of thing. The longer the longer I've been observing Provi, the more I'm seeing how the traditional market actually is a very poor platform from which to do market activities. It's probably safe to say that I think it's a pretty fair generalization to claim that for all of nullsec, or the way nullsec works, like the open market. When I say open market, it's kind of like behaving like a JITA station trader. It's probably not an effective way to do business in nullsec. Why have I come to that conclusion? It's no longer a hypothesis, but how did I come to that conclusion? Really, AFK stuff for Grizz Space is actually, yeah, I believe it. Like right now, it's taking me so long to. So it's easy to buy stuff. It's easy to buy stuff in nullsec because people basically sell it for near nothing. Case in point, the pyrite that I've been observing sitting at 2.5. It just sits there and no one's getting it. So like, if it's still there today after I cash out some things, or actually I can probably cash out now and capture what I can. Yeah, dude, I'll totally get it. I'll totally get it. But no one's. The buyers aren't interested. Aren't even really looking at the open market. They're probably not bothering to look because they probably have their own buyback programs. Which, I mean, good buyback programs. So what's my experience with buyback programs? As a miner, back in the day, dude, that's our bread and butter, man. In nullsec, dude, that's our bread and butter. You mine, I pay you, then I build with it. Then we mine again, then I pay you again. You know what I mean? That's kind of just the spirit of it. But yeah, I mean, I'm really glad that I'm gonna be almost done with my RIA training, and I'm gonna be able to do proper imports and exports. So what am I importing? I'm importing modules more than anything, because locally I can build hulls. So my intent is actually to be a guy that can provide doctrine ships in the proper staging systems and have it already there. Okay. Could you just sell? Can you just parcel out the ships and the modules and do it that way? You could, but more people tend to kind of just look at contracts and see if there's one available already made already. Mostly because if you try to buy all, sometimes it's just not all there. It's just not like, oh, someone bought up all of the module XYZ for another fit. And you're just like, oh, I guess I can't complete this Abaddon fit. Sorry. There's that. Cast like I've dabbled or salvage buybacks and Tech 1 SRP. We're really interested to step it up. Modules, including rigs, yeah. Like I put the whole thing, like whatever is listed in the, and that's one of the beauties of. I think if you really, one of the key elements of being able to do the doctrine thing is the stuff kind of the information has to be made available, right? So if for whatever reason your corp or your alliance or your coalition doesn't actively publish updated fits, doctrines, and things like that, then the folks who are willing to supply and do the logistics aren't going to be able to provide that service. So before you even get really deep into that kind of operation, reach out to your respective organization and make sure you're able to get the most up-to-date fit so you can actually set it up on contracts. As a venture in curses fit as a whole, good idea. Venture in curses. Small ships I do still actually, but more for like Tech 1 tackles. But that's like super local though. So a lot of how have I been doing the contracts? I do Pocket Defense Force doctrines locally in our area for my Corp and Alliance. And I do kind of like the parceled off modules and ships in the main staging. Most of those items I actually bought for cheap though, and I kind of just like I captured it from different parts of the region, and then I relocated it into main staging, and for competitive pricing for that particular station. Transport hulks. Ooh, yeah. You know what? I haven't looked too much into mining equipment. That's definitely a failure in my part. I should really look into that. But I can't speak for the other regions. But in Pravi specifically, they sell their doctrines. Typically speaking, especially the hulls, are sold at a price that's really really, I think it's too cheap for one. Um, and it's one of those things, man. Like if you put stuff too cheap in a region, then people, then it becomes a race to the bottom. It inevitably becomes a race to the bottom, and nobody wins when you race to the bottom. Nobody wins. So, which doctrine are you talking about, Cap? It becomes a race to the, and I've had conversations with my corpies and alliance guys, and even some dudes like in coalition in general, and I always know if I'm talking to a market guy when they say, "But it's good that they're cheap." Like, no, fool. If they're too cheap, then no one's gonna feel motivated to continue to supply that. That's why you always run into shortages. Like Pravi should not be running short on incredibly obvious doctrines. Like this doesn't, and you know why it's short? Because people aren't feeling motivated because they're having to race to the bottom. So how do you combat that? I mean, what's my strategy? I'm not gonna race you to the bottom. I'm gonna be patient because eventually all your orders will be filled, and all that's gonna be left is mine. That's gonna be like +5, +10% over Jita, which is really not that much considering the cost of hauling the stuff over and the effort to haul that stuff over. So, yeah. This is like, I don't know, man. People are just, it's frustrating, man. It's frustrating. It's like, it's worse than one ISK Wars. Way worse than one ISK Wars. At least in one ISK Wars, you kind of know the limit. But when you're in an environment where people have absolute disregard for the value of things, oh my god. Oh my god. 15%? You know what? No, I mean, for the doctrines that I seeded for our pocket, I went cost plus 10%, and I'm about halfway done through my stock. So I'm pretty happy with that. Very, very happy with that. I mean, because a lot of people will, for those of you guys who are kind of getting into this, like, don't get hung up on the price. And you guys know this. In nullsec, people don't care about price because ISK is so easy to get. What's valued more than actual price is convenience. So you kind of have to play off of that. You have to play off of that. Play off of the people would rather use as little effort as possible and gladly they will throw money at you if you can make it convenient. People will literally throw money at you. Yes, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to be to seek profit and be competitive as a market person. That's fine. I don't know. Maybe it's a cultural thing. Maybe it's because I'm a dirty Jita guy, and and my kind isn't welcome in Pravi. I don't know. Maybe it's a cultural thing. I don't know. We'll see, but that's where I'm headed. It's like only reason Domino's on Sunday. So that's where I'm heading with my operation. Actually, another thing I kind of want to go over with you guys is how to. So as a market person, as a person with the ability to move stuff from high sec to null sec and back, I found myself actually in the position where I can directly contribute to the ISK making of my corporation. I'm very, very thankful to my CEO, to the directors who have given me the trust to do this. And yeah, it's with the resources that I've set aside for it, it's basically the corpse. I'm just gonna work it out, Condor, hey Condor, what's up, man? Found it hard, but I'm definitely learning patience in the marketplace. Yeah, you got it, man. It's like I mean, can you do it actively in the short term? Yeah, absolutely. Like straight one ISKing, but if you're a guy who has way more, like a lot more money than patience, uh, don't be afraid to seek out other people or just really long investments. We actually cover a few of these uh, in our calls this week. We're getting to that. The characteristics of the new Plex is becoming more and more fleshed out as it goes through these long cycles. So I think I have a better, I think I'm way more attuned to pick it apart now than I was, say, 3 months ago. Yeah, man. I mean, so right now, what am I intending to do? So one of the things that I found, maybe it's because of my lack of vision as well within the organization, but one of the things that I thought was kind of like a bread and butter thing is if you're a nullsec and if you have enough miners, maybe not even miners, if you have a way to extract raw materials of some sort, maybe PI or loot or minerals, right? It doesn't matter. If you as an organization will buy that from your membership, pay them competitive pricing, as competitive as you can, right? And do something with that raw material, then you should be able to kind of just, in an assembly line fashion, continue to make money for your organization. Like that makes sense, right? Um, but I don't know why that's not a prevalent methodology in nullsec anymore, or maybe it's because of just the people that have kind of joined, through the years. Because that behavior is very prevalent in high sec, like most mining organizations that I've joined in high sec, they do that very same thing. So I'm not sure why that's not followed through in nullsec. Is it really that different? I don't think so. Not as a process. Mute. Well, it has time to get data on Plex and for price to level out. Yeah, yeah. Your mom CEO's ears. Yeah, so we'll see, man. So I'm really looking forward to it. Like, that's gonna be the majority of my efforts for my corp and alliance is actually be play the role of the wallet. It's like I've come across this situation several times where like, hey, we really want to get stuff done. We really want to like make money for the organization, and it's like talk, 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 talk. But eventually, someone has to go like this, like, hey, everybody, shut the fuck up. I'm gonna run this shit with my fucking money. I just need this, this, and this. I just need these rights, these rights, and these rights. Here's your profit. But someone needs to take the lead, right? So hopefully I can maybe kind of steer folks in that sense. But one of the things that I really wanna, if there's one thing I can leave, an idea that I can leave my fellow corps members and alliance mates with is like, hey, it's okay to be competitive. It's okay to seek profit. It's totally fine. You don't have to do everything from the kindness at the bottom of your heart. You know. Hey, Kings. I think Melto nanoribbons will keep dropping. What would what market forces would allow it to rise though? I don't think there's any market force that I can think of right now that would make it rise. And by making it rise, I mean curb the incoming supply. Because by the very nature of the melted nanoribbons in wormhole space, melted nanoribbons by themselves are worthless. They have to be turned into market to gain value. Otherwise, they're just things in your hangar, right? And that's just that's just the nature of wormholes. Like things in wormholes have no value until you sell it to market. It's like mining. It's such a pet peeve of mine. I'm so sorry, guys. But it's such a pet peeve of mine when miners say. I used to do this too. When miners say, "I make 30 million ISK an hour," and I just go, "Mr. Miner, you did not make 13 million ISK an hour. You mined ores that have the value of 30 million ISK in 1 hour. It's a difference. So there. So worm like the context of wormhole industry is just that, like, they're, because there's no bounty, right? There's thing they need to still be exchanged for money. Oh, hey, Germany, all right. Oh, Cap, dude, I really want to get the an import export. I actually have it in the cooker right now. It's just that I really want to do stats on my RIA, so I was waiting for my training to be done. But definitely expect an import export class for sure. You should shit. Kings, they're used for Tech 3 modules, I believe. Yep, they sure are. Yep, bought a bunch a while back at 1.2 million each now, and they are buying at 800K last I checked. That's so sad, because at the top end, dude, I was selling that shit like it's cool for 7 mil a piece. 7 mil a piece, like maybe 3 years ago. It's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, but there's no force that's going to curb the incoming supply. Not that I can think of. Because it's not really needed. From a Tech 3 production perspective, you don't need that much melted nanoribbons for builds. You don't. The majority of the builds actually come not from salvage, but the polymer reactions. That's the bulk of the cost, right? So that's a better indication of pricing as opposed to the salvage. Actually, we talked about Tech 3 right here. Unless somebody invades wormhole in the VIX, all the C5s and C6s, bro. Come on, bro. Come on, man. Come on, dude. That is a tall order to evict, like, the wormhole mafia like that. That is a tall order. Can we explain why fuel is so cheap lately? We sure can. We can. I can't remember if we actually engaged that. Nope, we didn't. Why is fuel so cheap? Fuel is so cheap because the requisite materials are so cheap. Components, fuel blocks. Take one of these blocks. Why is fuel so cheap? Relatively speaking, it's not that cheap. 19K bottom end. Yeah, I mean, it's not that much cheaper. Hydrogen, is there anyone that's really rock bottom? No, not really. It's pretty stable for its history, to be honest. It may be within the last 90 days cheaper. Slightly cheaper. Oxygen and nitrogen seem to be most hit. Let's look at nitrogen. I think that's the one that's most aggressively going down. What do we need for it? So the stront and nitrogen isotopes. So stront, so I think all of these use stront. There's certain, they all use stront. By number of units needed, it's not that significant, but for cost, it's pretty significant. Let's look at stront. We actually called out stront, but that's fine. Stront's dropping pretty hard. It's dropping really, really hard. I think it finally hit the floor. Why? Like, more people are just ice mining. Honestly, it's supply, but if there aren't a lot of cap fights happening, if like a lot of the pauses just got shut down. I mean, that's it's gonna take a while for the demand to pick up again once the refineries are up and running and surviving. I still got a weight reduction last patch. Oh, really? Oh, shit. I didn't realize that. Ugh. Yeah, dude, we'll go into strong, but then I bought kind of like up here. At the time, it looked good, but then it kept going down. All right, so yep. So expect what I really want to do as well for you guys is actually throw out like production pictures based on how I intend to actually make money for my corporation, and hopefully you can kind of maybe flesh out some information from there to see if that model can work for your own organization. I think a lot of people. I think that could be useful information. It's like the strange. Like it really trips me out when people from Nullsec tell me, I don't know how to make money, but they're like in a seemingly kind of efficient corporation or alliance. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know how to make money, man? What do you mean? You're in Nullsec, bro. It's like just reach your hand out and people just give you ISK. It's crazy. Brewcrow says it may go up again once you have the requirement of fuel citadels for all 3 timers. I'm not knowledgeable enough on that side of the Citadel house, man. I'm not knowledgeable enough. I'm pretty knowledgeable on how to kill them. Managing them, not so much. Yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. But let's go through our calls for this week, though. There's some really interesting stuff in there. Like, again, man, it's like stuff that just... It seems counterintuitive to what we've always known to happen for large patches that are industrial in nature. So really, really funky stuff. All right, so the first one we're going to go for our buys is P4s. So it's kind of funny, right? Because like not even 2 weeks ago, I think it's 2 or 3 weeks ago, I called out P4s hard. And now they just look... It's the demand, which really, this is what really kind of strikes me. We'll look at it first. I'm talking about P4 specifically. Now this did not affect every single P4, but most of the P4s. Dude, it dived really hard. It dived really hard on not significant volume. Broadcast nodes. People cashed out their broadcast nodes. Didn't even think about it. Didn't even blink twice. Didn't even blink. They just insta sell, please. Why? Crazy. Condor says at the moment they only need fuel for active modules. Yep. Changes coming in Q1. They will require fuel to run if you want to have 3 timers. Yep. To be noted as active, right? If you don't have fuel, it'll only have 2 timers, missing the middle one. Dude, high sec is going to be so much destruction. So much destruction. So why is this? I think this is a good model, and you'll see this pattern actually repeat itself quite a lot. So disregard those broadcast nodes for now. Okay, just know that it's a P4. So there was this inherent knowledge that, oh, there's a new type of Citadel coming out. P4s are going to be important in creating these. They're going to rise in price. Oh, look, I have so much P4s. I'm going to insta-sell it now because the price is higher. But then people just kept doing it without realizing that the price was actually already dropping, but they still kept doing it. I think that's what was happening, man, because that's a very reasonable assumption because it plays off of the laziness of people. And sometimes you can count on laziness of people, man. Because it's a video game, right? It's people are gonna be lazy. They just want their stuff. They just want to exchange it for money, which is totally fine, absolutely fine, right? So I think that's what happened here. People were seeing that it increased in value, insta-selling it, but didn't realize it was already dropping. It's a fairly narrow downtrend. Considering the aggressiveness of the drop, yeah, it's pretty narrow. It's a pretty narrow downtrend. Especially once it flattened out. Right here. Quite narrow. But it realized that it dropped actually pretty nicely. It hit the floor at its 90-day, like the 90-day low mark. So which is really good. Which is really good. So that's the so if I had cash, would I buy into broadcast nodes? Yeah, I would. But I must go into this purchase knowing that I probably won't be able to have a really good spot to sell this again for another At least 30 days. At least. Especially with a drop that hard, this is gonna go sideways for a while. Because this is buying season. With as many refineries have been getting destroyed, this is buying season. Not as drastic for integrity response drones, but I think it's the same idea. It was quite narrow anyway, to begin with. Nano factories. Dude, this is the 90-day low. This is a total buy. I don't even care if you have zero knowledge of PI. Just by virtue of the chart and that it's a 90-day low, I think it's worth a speculative bet. Definitely worth a speculative bet. Market traders are really lazy, Condor. We're super lazy. That's why we do markets, man, because we're lazy. Nano factories, I totally buy that. Just on principle, man. 1 million for 1 million ISK for a P4? Depending on how much tax you're getting on your factory planets. Yeah, dude, you gotta get that. Dude, I'd get that. I totally get that. Every time I get like these nice, like, it's been like at least four, maybe even 5 episodes that I've been telling you guys, man, if I had money, I'd buy that. I'm so strapped for cash right now, man, but I'm so rich in like raw materials. I'm so rich in raw materials. I just gotta be able to build stuff with it. I'm just waiting for my damn RIA to finish. Hey, Yesko. Organic motor applicators. I was kind of surprised it stopped here. It didn't. The rest of the most of the other P4s actually kind of went back to a 90-day low period, but this is nice and clean. That's still a really good spot compared, but can it reach these heights again? I don't know, man. Those are even throughout its history. That's actually a very high spot. I wouldn't expect to actually hit these heights again. Maybe close, but not 1.75 now. That's because I stack PI commodities. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. I don't even know what to make of this chart, man. That's such big outlier. Like, what is this? It goes all the way to 0 for outliers. Like, what is this? Esco says I burned up 14 to 20 command center launches before I tried to pick them up on the 6th day. 1 day after the max 5 days. Oh, wow. That's a lot of PI, man. That's way too much PI. And that's definitely something I am intent on doing in Nullsec as well, especially since we got a few like very low tax factory planets in my area. 2 P4 planets at this time. Right now I'm probably going to be running no more than 3. Self-harmonizing, it's kind of high. It's probably still got room to grow. It's the 5-day moving average is still trending downwards. It's probably got room to go down still. I wouldn't buy into this right now. Conduits is actually starting to pick back up, but I don't think it's gonna make it. It's probably gonna go sideways. It's probably gonna go sideways. I don't think it's done. This is definitely not done going down. It may have, as an outlier, hit the bottom end, but this will probably end up getting closer to 2.25, getting closer to its 90-day low. 42 planets. Jesus Christ, man. No way. Not for me. That's not the life I want, man. That's not the life I want. No, not at all. Not at all. That's too many. That's too much PI for me. If PI wasn't so badly designed as a mechanically, right? If it wasn't so badly designed, I'd probably get into it. I don't want to. I don't want to. All right, so that's the P4s. Next thing I'm going to look at, guys, is the racial carbide. So 2 weeks ago, we were calling for the moon materials. We noticed that, or last week actually, we noticed that the a good portion of the raw moon materials were actually dropping in price, but the advanced moon materials via reactions weren't following suit yet. Now they have, and we're gonna use and we definitely noticed it on the racial carbides. 7 tunes with max PI. Holy! I don't think I've ever. Well, I've had as much as 4 accounts active at one time, but we're just gonna just the racial carbide. A little easier. I think they're a little easier to have an idea of how expensive things are gonna be generally. So we noticed from last week that a lot of the raws were dropping in price, and now the racial carbides are following that pattern as well. Is this gonna how far can this go down? I don't think you're gonna have a good idea until all possible like harvesting methods of the moon belts have kind of been done. Unless people already know how much you can actually extract on the really long cycles, and how often can you reliably actually extract that. Without that, if the large moon belts don't make it to market, I don't know. I mean, they should bounce back up, but something tells me that moon belts right now, for the most part, is probably it's probably not as bloody as we would like due to politics and diplomacy. All right, so crystalline carbonides going down. Is it going to continue? Probably, just based on the charting. The the 5-day moving average looks like it's trending downwards. And as far as the Danshin channel is concerned, it's got plenty of room down here. Plenty of room. Tech 2 will never be as cheap as it was. I think that's a hard statement to get behind 100%, especially when the carbides are dropping in price. It's a really tough statement to get behind. Yeah, I don't know, because this is super strange behavior, man. Really strange behavior. For the carbide dropping hard. Even if this is just simply a reaction to a manic rise, it's really not that much higher than the lowest point in the 90-day chart. So that's kind of strange, right? That's kind of strange. Yeah, they mean a huge stockpile still. Yeah, I mean, everyone has large stockpiles of the expensive stuff. Not many people have stockpiles of the cheap stuff, generally speaking. So if anything, if there's one part of the equation that can really, really strain kind of the idea of the T2 stuff, how it's made, how we harvest stuff, it's gonna be on the cheap stuff, man. No, not all moon goo makes it to market. Yep, absolutely. It'd be kind of strange if it did. I mean, even Jita's a poor platform to actually display information on moon materials because it's such an inherently null-sec thing. Titanium, same thing, dropping pretty hard. It's definitely at the well beyond the 90-day. It is now on the 90-day low. Tungsten dropped, but it's trying to pick back up. It's the only one that actually recovered. Now, why did it recover? Not sure why it recovered. The volume isn't very indicative of the recovery. It looks like just straight up people want to get it right now. It's probably because they saw how cheap it was and they want to just capture it from cells. Like this pattern right here is probably pretty safe to assume that a similar pattern will emerge for the other racial carbides. It's pretty reasonable. I think it's pretty reasonable. All right, next one is Strong. We already saw Strong, but we'll look at it again. So, totally a buy. I myself have bought it, I think somewhere around here. So that kind of sucks. I have to wait for it. I have to either wait much longer now to get a profit, or just chalk it up as a loss and just use it myself. I'll probably just end up using it myself, to be honest. Why are you feeling smug, Cap? Did the moon goo? All right, and the last one we're gonna call for the buys is Plex, but it's really more of an observe, not really a hard call. I know I know you guys love it when I call something like a soft call. Like, do I buy it or not? Yes or no? Same buy on the strong but lower. Oh, really? You lucky bastard. Lucky bastard. Though that's good though. That's good. So Plex is really looking real funky. So definite buy signals, but is it the bottom? Hard to tell. Hard to tell. You got the median price below the 5-day, and now it's sitting above it. Is there enough demand for it to go back up? Well, first, what caused the drop? What caused the drop is people were wanting to. I will buy Plex right now to get ISK so I can buy stuff for refineries. Hey, later, mute. Thanks for coming by, man. So with the cash out, with the cash out because of the demand for ISK, that's probably one of the contributors of it dropping, of the price dropping. But is it done doing that? I think it's gonna go sideways. Can it go lower? I can't imagine it going lower, especially because we're about to go into, you know, the time of the year where people are inside and they want to play some games. I didn't even know dungeon what donkey to start. Dude, like it's one of the, like it's kind of strange to me. Like I don't even know why CCP uses dungeon channels. RSIs would be better, but graphically speaking, dungeons are very, you know, it gives you information just based on the graphics, right? But RSIs, I think RSIs RSIs are good because it gives you a picture of demand, like. But it is, like, graphically, it's not as pretty to look at. It's not as easy to gather information from. But it's got a lot of information, man. But the very nature of that indicator is actually, it's quite informative. Also, Brooker says also the premium starter packs are half price. Didn't know that. Didn't know that. They might be part of it too. But if that's done, is it gonna go back up? Maybe. But I think it's going to go sideways for a while. The army at 16. Nice. It's probably going to go sideways for a while. I mean, if it does go back up, I mean, if even, let's say you buy it now. Let's say you buy it now at 3, even 3. Is it reasonable to sell this at 3.15? Even if you're to sell at 3.15, there's not that much value back on it. There isn't. There isn't. I totally wait for this. I totally wait. If I was doing a long play, I wouldn't be able even be looking at this. But if you're looking for a quick flip, let's do 3 and 3.15, just for giggles. As long as you're making these trades in a near 0% Fortizar, maybe 4%. 4% is pretty good on Plex. That's really good on Plex. But that means you're babysitting orders. I'm not a fan of babysitting orders. That's not me, man. 4 and I feel rich. Yeah. Those are our buys. For sells, we're gonna call the Amatat Tech 2. These are fighters. Never called fighters. I personally have never used these myself either. Maybe you guys can Tell me maybe why it's increasing in value. People are buying these up. People are buying up these Amitats. What do they do? Heavy fighter, long range attack, and it's got a beam cannon. Has a micro jump drive. Okay, well it's the Amar variant. The Tech 2 Amar variant, heavy fighter. People are buying it up. So if you're into cap warfare, I guess you should be expecting these to be fielded. Next one's the Tierfing Tech 2. It's the Minmatar variant, I think. It's got the Minmatar design, yeah, Minmatar variant. Autocannons, okay. Micro warp drive, Pia Salvo, and it's up there. Not crazy amount of volume, but with things that generally don't have a lot of volume anyway, it doesn't take much to really throw off the charts because of it's just the way the math works out. All right, so increased demand on those two. So if you're in the market, if you produce these or you have a large stock of them and you're not really going to end up using them, you may want to consider selling them. Consider selling. All right, next one's rattlesnakes. I love calling out the pirate battleships, man, because they're my bread and butter for so long. Esco says I can currently run PI of 4 pilots, Mine Ice, and Hemorphied Jaspid. Nice. That sounds really good, actually. It started to go back down again, but if you sell now, I think you're selling at you're definitely selling at a much more favorable price if you can let's see, if you can get 4.7 on it. Ooh, might be at the low end right now for this time zone. If you don't sell this either within the next 24 hours, you might be faced with a downward trend. So if you must sell it, I'd sell it like right now. If you don't sell it right now, you may need to wait another week or two. But that's fine though. I mean, rattlesnakes tend to be rattlesnakes. Macarials are very, very cyclical. Very cyclical. Macarials more so than rattlesnakes technically, but Macarials are just looking really weird right now. I think it's like people are really. I think some people are going all in on the idea of alpha Macarials, man. That's what I'm feeling like, at least. That's what it appears like based on the charting. All right, and then that last one I'm gonna call out, guys, is Tech 3 cruisers. Not all of them, most of them. I think it's all but the Tengu, actually. There's been crazy demand on this in the charts. Crazy demand. It's almost as if. Well, here's the funny thing, and let's just look at the price real quick. But it's kind of my funny observation on this. Okay, Legion's up, way up. It's matching its 90-day high. Alpha Gila is gonna make things interesting. Ooh, I didn't even think about that. That's a good one. That's a good one. Because alphas can train up to level 4, right, of the cruiser skill. That's actually that's quite a lot. Yeah. So legions are up. No crazy volume, so it's just people just capturing more from sell orders. Nothing crazy. Tengu, not so much. Flattened out. Flattened out. Proteus is up near the 90-day high. Okay, he's starting to get it's still kind of up. Like it's up right here, but then it started moving sideways. So it's kind of up. So why the increased value on the Tech 3s? So we called out a lot of the Tech 2 hulls. they were increasing in value. Like hacks right now are more expensive, right? But I guess from a organizational doctrine perspective, Tech threes are more efficient, not just in ISK, but also maybe in attributes perspective. So are we finding ourselves in a position where, at least in the from the present to the near future, it's cheaper, not just in ISK, but in ship attributes to actually get Tech threes versus Tech two cruisers? I think that's what's happening. How sustainable is this? How sustainable is this behavior? At least until the pricing of the Tech two things get resolved, you're probably looking at basically a Tech through cruiser world for a while. At least based on what we're seeing in the charts right now. This may be obviously very different at the tactical level based on how the coalitions actually employ their forces, but at least based on the market side, that's what it looks like. Yeah, so that's all I got, guys. Great discussions on chat here that I've totally been missing most of. Sorry, guys. We'll see. Yeah. So that's, man, I'm pretty excited about doing an import export class once I get my RIA done, so I can actually post some stats on it. Yeah, so that's all our calls. I don't really have anything much to add, guys. That's really all I have. So for at least within the next 2 weeks, hopefully I'll be able to complete my market lesson for imports exports. I basically have it all written. I just gotta I guess I just gotta record it, honestly. But I kind of wanted to post some stats on the draft raiders. Besides that, great questions. Thanks for letting me rant on my shit isn't free in nullsec deal. Like, why are people still? Like, I just don't get why I still have to justify that things aren't free. I don't, man. I don't. I don't know why I have to still explain that. It's crazy. Very, very crazy. Probably gonna catch some shit on that from my alliance mates. We'll see, man. But I'm really excited to actually report some of that nullsec market information for you guys. I have to find a maybe I can maybe I may just have to change the way I present this. I got to figure out. Maybe someone can help me with that. If I can find a good way to present this in OBS, as if because like we multi-box, right? Or we have like multiple accounts open at the same time. Like how to kind of elegantly present that in a stream. We'll have to see. If I can kind of figure out a setup, if anyone can help me with that, that'd be great. Because then we can do live price comparisons between Provi and Jita. That'd be kind of cool, right? Like, you're gonna have to teach this at higher levels. It's like the null right now. We'll see, man. We'll see. You gotta start small, man. Start small. Like, give me ores. I pay you. Come back in a week. I'll give you more money. Simple shit. All right, that's all I got. Thanks very much for joining me today, guys. Really appreciate it. And I'll see about being able to more actively present Provi market information. Not just because it's Provi, but I think it's a good sample for nullsec in general, because Provi is really reachable by anyone. So cool. All right. Well, thanks very much, guys. Yeah, like if it takes 3 hours to fill an order, it ain't cheap, right? All right, I will see you guys next week, and as per usual, just I'll have everything posted on YouTube before I go to bed. Oh, duo stream. That's what's up, Cap. That's what I'm talking about. Let's do something. All right, thanks, guys. I will see y'all next week.